start. And Magnus, with the white pieces, will make the first move. And time control in Blitz, David, remind us.
For time control, each player will have 5 minutes on the clock for the whole game, but they will gain 3 seconds after every move. And Magnus opens with 1b3.
Hippo!
This could transpose to the hippo. Of course, this opening was made famous last year by Adiban, who brought out a very, very good chessable course. And yeah, he wants to keep the tension. No commitment in the center, no opening theory. Yeah, what do you guys think of this? Simon, I can tell you love it already. You're excited.
Yeah, I mean, I always like seeing a different opening. You've got your main line openings and you've got your more sideline openings. And we see this very rarely. And I like seeing rare openings. It's more fun. You get very interesting middle games. This has not been mapped out very deeply as compared to the other openings. And now here, Magnus has got to decide what setup to go for, though. This is kind of the next stage. What setup does he want? Does he develop his knight? Does he go back to a more mainline idea by moving his queen's pawn? Does he even go for a Dutch? Does he go for a hippo?
Play the hippo, Magnus.
Oh, come on.
He's going to play the hippo. I mean,
Spending too long, though. He hasn't adjusted.
Yeah.
What will be the move if it's the hippo?
Wow.
Ooh.
Not this one.
Okay.
Wow.
White would have just played a pawn move on the third rank if he wanted the hippo opening. Instead, he gives up the bishop there.
I would never consider doing that in a million years. I mean, that... You know, just giving up the bishop. We love our bishops. Giving up that bishop with great range. Yes, you double black's pawns, but, you know, that's a big decision.
Massive decision.
It's huge. And, OK, unsurprisingly, there had only been 4 games in my database with that move. And I'm just shocked. Magnus is breaking the rules here.
But this is the hippo without the bishop. He's actually gone for the hippo.
But that bishop,
Who needs 2 bishops for a hippo?
was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, White would love his dark square bishop back right now. On the plus side, Black does have a dilemma. Duda, which side is he going to castle on? If Black's king goes this way, to the right side, castling king side, there is a bit of a hole due to a set of doubled pawns. If you go the long way, it's just going to be chaos. Both sides will throw pawns, pieces at each other's king. It's very tempting to go the long way, though. Castle on the opposite side to White.
Is Magnus going to start to try to hunt this light square bishop that's outside of the pawn chain? Yes. And, yep, here it comes. So I'm presuming that he's not just about capturing that bishop, but instead maybe he might want to advance some pawns and just cause some questions.
Yeah, lock it in. Push that f-pawn forward, perhaps. And Duda, look, he's hovering. If you look at Duda's screen, he's hovering over Black's doubled f-pawns. He wants to push one of them forward. Is he going to do that now? OK, Magnus occupies space in the centre. Very logical. Now that Magnus has parted with his dark square bishop, he has to put pawns on dark squares to kind of exert some control there. On the... OK, Duda, is he really about to push his h-pawn forward? That looks a bit weird. Looks a bit loose.
Yeah, and it's on the board.
Yeah. Does he want to initiate a kingside attack later? He's really asking Magnus to trade off that white knight on the edge of the board for that.
He's got the Neiman bishop there, hasn't he? Yeah. You know, that light square bishop, if you've been following the coverage the other days, we saw that Hans Niemann has been left with this bishop. Ugh. And there you go, the Neiman bishop is on the board.
Yeah, but look, this was the whole thing. You know, that knight is not obliged to move. We've got that bishop in its purest form.
Yeah. Purest form. I mean, that's an impure bishop with its range blocked. That black light square bishop is just locked out of the game for the near future.
Yeah.
Possibly even the long future.
I love this move. He's planning to bring that knight back around, right? Wow. You know, with that last move. And it is the light square bishop. Big pawn, we call it.
Yeah, he's killed one of his opponent's pieces. Or at least he's dominating one of his opponent's pieces, so Magnus will maybe try at some point soon to switch the battle over to the other flank while Black is kind of messing around with his king, with his pieces on that side. I mean, it's just incredible, like the strategic kind of mastery that he has.
Just the understanding of move 3, giving up the bishop for the knight, and then you get this like 10 moves later. How does he do it, you know? It's like amazing, you know, amazing new ideas, which I love seeing.
You know, I think it's like some magic spell that he kind of casts on his opponents, because it doesn't make any sense the way that Duda's played. You know, it just feels like he's on full-on tilt mode. He doesn't want to be there. He should, you know, he's thinking to himself, I should have won this match.
Yeah,
I mean,
you think Duda's still dwelling on the past?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it still seems, that doesn't seem that bad at all for black, saying that. I mean, yeah, you've got the bad bishop, but your knight's in the centre. You might have a chance to push a pawn on the king side. I don't know how, but it's not terrible by any means. Just a little bit worse for black.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the last game with Duda. He's solid, not that many weaknesses, but he just doesn't have a plan, right?
Yeah.
Or at least not one that we can see over the next 2 or 3 moves. Maybe Duda has like a longer, kind of sophisticated sequence where he can somehow extricate his light squared bishop in front of his king and onto a better diagonal, but we don't see it yet. It's just all about, again, like the last game, it's all about whether Magnus can improve. It's not so easy for Magnus, actually. There's just so many pawns, it's so locked up. It's just manoeuvring.
Magnus does have one idea in his pocket, and obviously it's not great now, but it's just simply to capture the pawn in the middle, because black is obliged to capture back with the c pawn, and suddenly there is an open line. But it's not good now because white is not ready for the opening, so it's just something to always bear in mind, that, and something that Duda must calculate on every move.
Yeah, white's queen. I really want it. I was going to say, I really want to slide her across one square. White's rook in the left-hand corner, that one needs to activate. And it was previously just kind of protecting a pawn. Now at least white can double up some rooks. Maybe go at, oh, Duda, that is a weird, that's an impatient move. Maybe it's a good one, maybe it's completely fine, but it just looks like it's so weakening. And there we go, the evaluation bar does react. In this pawn structure, I would never ever touch that pawn. I would just say, okay, I'm going to shuffle, come at me. But he's just saying, okay, I'm coming to you. And when Duda has such a bad bishop, like he does on the light squares, yeah, that's not going to really work. There's a lot of holes in black's half of the board. White has everything covered in his half. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I'm liking Magnus's position more and more. You know, I think the white knight is going to come to the f4 square. The bishop is actually, you know, doesn't have a role on h3. It's going to come and reroute itself to f1. And suddenly, just look at every single one of white's pieces. They have a purpose, they have a function. And black, yeah, I mean, his position is still holdable. I mean, it's still okay. But, you know, he does have an uphill task ahead of him. And with the clock ticking down, I'm really, really worried for Duda.
Yeah, 20 seconds or 30 seconds now below on the clock.
I mean, just look at the light square bishop.
Position. Yeah.
Sorry, David, I was just saying, look at the light square bishop. It's embarrassingly bad, isn't it? It really is. And
putting a rook behind it, he's just, his bishop's in the way now.
I know.
Like, would love to just pick his bishop and just throw it off the board.
Yeah. Swap it for anything, like a pawn. I don't know, like, you know, it's, I mean, I don't know how that's ever going to get back in the game. And these long-term things, they matter greatly when you're playing Magnus. And the white knights, I mean, it's a closed position. You've got two knights. Knights weren't in a closed position. This is the move that David, I think, you know, you pointed out, that pawn lunge that black played allowed that rook to go to that square. Black was covering that square with a pawn before. The only plan I can see for black is to... Oh,
look at that bishop.
I thought that he would just trade everything off and just, yeah, maybe just try to create some kind of attack on the right. But this looks, I mean,
there will be no attack if you have a bishop like that. One bad piece. Also, white's knights protect his king. Okay, he's trying to open up lines. He's swapping off his isolated pawn. That's good. But Magnus just pushes forward. Yeah, interesting. I was going to say the white knights will protect their king. The black king looks pretty safe as well, so I'm not sure who this favours, but I guess it's going to favour the side with the most active pieces.
I guess Magnus is just trying to play on both sides at the moment, isn't he? But yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Magnus pushed that G-pawn as well. I don't know if he needed to do that, but it is a blitz game. They're both now under 2 minutes, so it's going to really heat up now. You get a bit of time added on each move at the moment.
How are your nerves, Magnus and Jan Krzysztof? The white knight entering the centre of the board. Yeah, if white gets a couple of moves, he would love to shuffle his king into the corner, and then that white rook will swing the whole way across, line up against the black king. If black gets a couple of moves, I guess he wants to prioritise kicking away white's knights, or that white rook that's kind of sat in the black camp. But it's not easy to do either of those, to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't really want to trade off black's dark squared bishop for one of the white knights, because black's dark squared bishop plugs all those holes in his camp. The white queen is a bit misplaced. Maybe she needs to join the battle at some point, but is it urgent? What can black do in the meantime? And yeah, nice tweet there about the Niemann bishop. I'm not sure what's worse, Niemann's bishop in his game against Prague, or this black light square bishop here, which is just in the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a terrible piece. I mean, you've got to be very careful just shutting your own bishop in. I mean, it's been a bit of a theme today, the light square bishop, actually, in this match. You know, even Magnus had a very bad bishop earlier on when Duda was cruising. And I like this move because you're kicking the knight away. Now your queen can swing over to put some pressure on black's king as well. And I really think, you know, the black king could soon be under some nasty fire here.
Big pressure coming.
Is there
Great move there.
any idea that black has of generating some play by kicking some pieces back? So, okay, the pawn attacks the knight has to go back. I don't see a way of moving it forward.
Yep, that white knight probably just retreats. But yeah, I love white's last king move. The white rook is ready to swing, the one in the corner. The whole way across, white's queen and rook are going to kind of switch sides, it's rare to see pieces able to kind of be so mobile. What is Magnus worrying about here? I guess if the white knight retreats, maybe black will continue advancing some pawns at some point, but there's nothing wrong with a retreat here.
Wouldn't it be funny if Niemann's bishop becomes the winning piece? Yeah. It somehow jumps out from its passive square and gets the white king in checkmate.
I mean, this is the first time it's breathed any fresh air since in the last 10, 15 moves.
You can see it potentially having some...
Magnus is trying to go for the kill now. I'm not sure this was needed.
Sacrificing a piece, right?
Yeah.
He's gone for a piece sacrifice.
Which piece is sacrificed?
The
He
white knight
sacrificed
that's
the
just
knight
disappeared.
in the middle, and
Just a pawn, and
but it might
Duda
be
says,
good.
yeah, maybe. But Duda says, okay, I don't trust you. I'm calling your bluff. That's the right thing. Duda needed to suffer for something. At least he's a piece up now, as black. All of white's pieces are good, but where's the killer blow? Black's king has a lot of defensive pieces around it. I guess you can capture a pawn in the center, but yeah, it's so complicated now.
Yep.
And both sides around 30 seconds. Yeah. This one, objectively, it doesn't matter. It's just about who can react quickest. Okay, he does take a pawn. There's a pin on the g-file with white's rook, so white isn't giving up a second piece.
The white queen is quite handily placed on the diagonal to the black king as well. Yeah. But it is a piece, right? I mean, this is really risky. Now any result possible here, because if Magnus doesn't checkmate, he's going to lose on material. So he needs to now go for the checkmate.
Yeah, okay, the black king stepping back. There's all sorts of pins. I mean, there's a pin on the 6th rank with black's rook in the corner, looking all the way across to white's rook in his camp. I mean, black's king is so open. The white queen yet to join the battle.
It's difficult to kind of calculate. So bishop takes bishop.
He's a whole rook down, Magnus.
Whole rook. Wow.
Temporarily a whole rook down. He might win some of the material back, but I mean, this one, oh, wow, what a move. He's going in on the light squares. This is a kind of switchback. Yep. Oh, I say what a move, but the white queen's been blocked.
Look at the bar. Yeah, I got there quick first. Yeah. A little race.
This is dramatic, guys. The white queen needs to get in on the light squares, otherwise Magnus is just a rook down. She's not getting in. Black's queen is covering everything.
It's incredible.
Black is a whole rook up. Magnus under 10 seconds as well. Duda's up the pace. He's up the gears.
Look the bar.
Yeah.
1-1. Yes.
The white bishop switches back. Black's just trading rooks, though. Oh, my gosh. It's so hard to call this game. Anything could happen. Look at the bar, Kaya.
1-on-1.
The black king running.
But the king is safe as houses.
Looks safe.
Is it? I mean,
I guess the black queen now.
Yeah, but
have the players in the pictures if they react.
The king just cannot survive.
Black is winning, right? Just swap off the rooks, and white's bishop drops to the black queen.
Oh, wow.
After a check first, Magnus looks away. He's just blundered his house.
Oh, no.
Everything's fallen. White is a whole rook down in an endgame.
Brilliant
He's
play.
not even going to reach the endgame. Checkmate's going to come.
Well done, Duda. Brilliant, brilliant. Sort of, he took his opportunity. Magnus played very, very riskily there, and Duda managed to defend. That's it.
Checkmate in a couple of moves. There we go. It's a result. Duda takes the win.
Wow, what a comeback by Duda. Magnus winning the 2 last rapid games. It looked great for him in this first Blitz game with the white pieces, but Duda Wow, he takes the win and the lead in the Blitz tiebreaks. In 5 minutes, game number 2 will start. Magnus with the black pieces. He has to win it to take it to Armageddon, a draw or a win.